Zenix, 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 Zenix. This is the new Toyota Zenix. Innova Zenix. Hey guys, Jamil here from AutoIndustriya, and what I have for you is the new Toyota Innova Zenix. Yes, I finally got the name right. Now, the Innova Zenix comes in two variants. We have the top-of-the-line Q, which is a hybrid variant, but this one that we have is the non-hybrid V variant. Now, as we all know, the Innova nameplate is very popular here in the Philippine market. Maybe your tito, your tita, your relatives, maybe even your family has one. And it's also very popular on social media, especially when it comes to, supercar spotting. So now, what has changed in the new Innova Zenix? The looks itself, well, it's still very much similar to the old Innova platform. As you can see, the grille, similar shape but slightly bigger. The headlights, still pretty much the same shape as well. You have your fog lights for this V variant. But yeah, the main shift here is from the old ladder frame platform to the TNGA, which is now a unibody. So the Innova Zenix is now a front-wheel drive and it comes with a car platform. Now more on the looks. The wheels itself is completely new. It's a 17-inch, which was only previously available to the top-spec V variant of the older generation Innova. Now we have it in the mid-spec version. Now the side profile itself, you have a lot more perceived volume because it's a lot bigger and a lot wider than the previous generation Innova. You have more perceived volume over this bottom part because of the adoption to the TNGA platform. The side profile, the look itself is, well, very much similar to the likes of the Rush. You have more pronounced creases over here over the previous generation. And the Innova V comes with four-wheel disc brakes as standard. Now let's head to the back of the vehicle. At the back of the Toyota Innova Zenix, well, I tried to keep it simple. Just your normal LED tail lamps, Innova Zenix on the left, Toyota badging on the middle, and the V badge on the right. You also have parking sensors down below, as well as your reverse camera. But what's new for the Toyota Innova Zenix is that it now comes with a power tailgate, even in this mid-spec variant. So let's open this one up, and you'll see where the difference is compared to the older generation Innova, because you now have loads more space inside. Now this is 16 inches long and this is about 44 inches wide and 34 inches tall for your cargo. So if you do need more space, well, you can actually hide this headrest over here, fold these seats flat, and reveal 44 inches of cargo length inside. Now, the layout itself, you can actually fold them flat, unlike the previous generation that used to, have this folded on the sides. But the disadvantage of this new model is that the Innova Zenix comes with captain's chairs in the second row, so that means you can't actually fold the second row seats flat. Now, let's move over to the engine. Now, when you pop the hood, one of the first things you'll notice, asan yung makina? Because it's mounted pretty low. The engine right here is a completely new one. It's the M20A FKS. It has 174 horsepower and 205 Newton meters of torque. So it's making a bit more power, a bit more torque over the old 1TR FE engine of the Innova. The layout itself is also completely new. It's now transversely mounted, so it's now front-wheel drive. And one of the reasons is because the Innova Zenix is now riding on the TNGA-C platform. Now you see, the TNGA-C platform is being used by the Corolla Cross, the Corolla Altis, and you'll see it on the engine bay of the Innova Zenix that it has been adopted for use in an MPV. So you have the raised part right here for the fenders, and one of the things you'll also notice is that the TNGA-C platform has a lot more painted surfaces than say for example the Avanza and the Velos. A lot more painted surfaces on the shock tower itself, as well as the hood. The Innova Zenix uses a monocoque chassis. Well, it's typical of your sedan or your crossover. So it has its disadvantages, like water wading, for example. As you can see, the engine is mounted pretty low in its intake, so you're gonna have a cause for concern whenever you're crossing floods. But it also has its advantages in terms of riding comfort, NVH, and as well as your ride refinement. So, does that make a difference between the Innova Zenix and the old Innova? We'll get to that, but first, let's check out the interior. Now earlier, I've shown you how spacious the cabin of the Innova Zenix is when it comes to your cargo space. But really, the Innova Zenix is all about passenger space for 7 passengers. And to demonstrate just how spacious the third row is, let me show you how to enter from the third row. Now you just have to slide the second row seats forward to enter the third row. And now we're gonna ask the help of Arnel to demonstrate just how spacious it is on the third row of the Innova Zenix. So, as you can see, Arnel is already in his most comfortable position in the second row, and so am I here in the third row. I can actually slouch over here at the third row, which would be a good thing when you're doing long trips. And here at the third row, I wouldn't actually mind sitting here for longer trips because, yeah, you have the benefit of a nice leg room and nice headroom also. Here at the third row, you also have space for 3 passengers, but probably the most comfortable would be for 2. They have provisions for 3 seat belts over here, and you also have 12-volt power outlets and 2 pairs of cup holders at the third row. Now, let's check out the second row. Arnel, thank you for your help. So now that we're here at the second row of the Innova Zenix, even in this non-hybrid variant, you get captain seats on the second row. So once you fold down the third row seats, you basically have space for seating for 4 passengers. So what can we expect from the second row of the Innova Zenix? Well, you got these cup holders here and the space for your personal stuff, your phones, you can actually put them up here, which can be retractable. You also have your armrest. And when it comes to space, basically you have infinite. You can slide these seats forward and back for maximum legroom, as well as recline these seats for maximum comfort over long trips. So what else can we see here? We also have the AC vents placed on the sides. The old Innova used to have the AC vents placed here in the middle, as well as the AC controls, but now they've placed it right over here in the center console. You also have 2 pairs of Type-C USB charging ports in the second row, as well as your ambient lighting. So now, pretty much when it comes to people hauling, the Innova Zenix is a much better proposition than the older Innova. But now, let's move over to the driver's side. So now that we're here at the driver's seat of the Innova Zenix, here's where you'll notice how much Toyota has stepped up the standard when it comes to interior materials. Say for example, the dashboard already has soft touch panels, as well as the door cards, as well as the armrest. There's also a completely new parts bin from Toyota. The buttons are very much not what you'd normally see in, say for example, the Hilux or the Fortuner. The steering wheel itself is one example because, it's leather wrapped and you have controls on the infotainment system on the left. You have regular cruise control for this variant. So this one doesn't have the Toyota safety sense. So you only have the conventional cruise control. But yeah, the material feel is very good. You also have paddle shifters on the back of it. So now we move over to the instrument panel itself. It's actually a nice combination of analog and digital. So you have analog gauges for your tachometer, the fuel, as well as the temperature gauge. But the speedometer itself is digital, and we can actually access through this the average fuel economy. You can also have your cruise control function. So the rest of it is for your trip distance, as well as the settings for your instrument panel. So after this one, you actually see there's also a completely new touchscreen. So this one I think is an 8-inch, a 9-inch unit. We'll check that. And it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay, which is very good for nowadays for navigation, your Spotify. So very useful in this connected world. You also get a new panel for your climate control, completely new buttons as well. They don't have the rotary type knobs anymore from the previous model. The layout itself is also very, very familiar, and once you've ridden the High Ace or the LC300, you know, the boxy shape, the rectangular shapes will feel very familiar in this Innova Zenix. The shifter itself is also very nice because it's very ergonomic. You know, once you hold this one, you can actually access the different buttons for the climate control, even the EPB, the auto brake hold, the eco mode, and the traction control, all within reach. So you also get Type C and Type A USB charging ports here in front. So the Type A is used to connect through the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto function on the infotainment system. So you also get two cup holders here, your center console. There's a cubby here for your passenger or for yourself whenever you need to place your phone, whenever you're in wireless Apple CarPlay mode. There's a 12-volt power outlet which you can also use for charging purposes. And the glove box is very much nice and big. There's cup holders on the AC vents, which is typical Toyota stuff. But I've noticed that there's no more sunglass holder here in the middle. But what you do get is your vanity mirror that comes with lighting. So enough of that, let's head out and see what the Innova Zenix feels like on the road. Now it's time to do the driving impressions of the Innova Zenix. First of all, you'll immediately notice it's very smooth. Now, I've driven the previous two generations of the Innova, and it's known for comfort. Perhaps even more so than the Fortuner. The Innova Zenix, because of the unibody construction, and you now have 4 independent wheels. Soaking up all those bumps. Well, perhaps semi-independent because the rear suspension is torsion beam. The ride is just better. So everything is just smoother, more refined actually. You know, some really think the 2-liter engine, well, mahina yan, baka hindi makyat, baka hindi kaya umakyat ng Baguio. But you know what? Driving it around for the past couple of days, the Innova Zenix feels light on its feet. You know, what people don't notice is that the Innova Zenix is actually lighter than the previous generation Innova when they migrated to the unibody platform. And because of that, the power-to-weight ratio of the Innova is a lot better, and that helps with, you know, the initial acceleration, all that sort of stuff. And also in terms of fuel economy. You have less weight to lug around with the Innova, so the 2-liter engine is enough for this body type. You know, some will really miss the torque that's being delivered by the diesel, by a turbo diesel, but this one is actually not bad at all. You know, it's a naturally aspirated engine, so you do really have to step on the throttle a bit more to access the power band. But yeah, but once it gets going, it can actually accelerate pretty well. Now, speaking of fuel efficiency, the 2-liter gasoline engine of the Innova is not known for fuel efficiency. The previous 2 generations, the 2-liter and the 1TR. But with this new engine, the M20A, well, you know, it's a lot better. It's a lot better performing in terms of fuel efficiency. In the city, I've been averaging around 7 to 8 kilometers per liter in around 18 kilometers per hour average. When you reach highway speeds,
that's where the CVT and the 2-liter engine works together to deliver really good fuel economy figures. I can do around 18, and if you try a bit more, you can even reach up to 20 kilometers per liter with this Innova. But when Toyota migrated to the TNGA platform for the Innova, it just took things another step, another notch. With the car-like platform, it's a lot more refined, it rides smoother, and you have access to a lot more space at the back because you got rid of the ladder frame chassis. But the question is it worth migrating to that with the loss of the diesel engine? Well, that will depend on, for me, that will depend on who's buying the Innova Zenix. If you are used to driving or owning the Innova as a workhorse first, then a family car second, then you will miss the torque that's being delivered by and the robustness of a diesel engine with a ladder frame chassis with the older Innova. But for buyers who are already used to what the previous Innova V is bringing, then you will love the fact that it's a step up a notch when it comes to luxury. It's not, as we all know, the Innova Zenix is not Toyota's most luxurious offering. But in terms of, creature comforts and the cabin refinement, it's one of the nicer Toyotas out there. But for those who are using it on the provinces or, mainly as a workhorse, the Innova, then perhaps you're still better off to sticking with the old platform. After all, it's still being sold for, around 1.5, 1.6 million. And speaking of that, the price of the Innova Zenix, this non-hybrid, can actually be a bit more convincing. With that, let's head back to the warehouse.
The Toyota Innova Zenix retails for 1,670,000 pesos in this 2-liter V variant. To put that into perspective, that's 300,000 pesos less than the top-of-the-line Q that comes in hybrid, and it's also slightly cheaper than the previous generation Innova V that's still on sale that comes in diesel. But really, the Toyota Innova Zenix is Toyota's approach into making this platform less of a utilitarian and more of a people mover that's comfortable, that's refined, and could be a cheaper alternative to the likes of the Alphard or even the Fortuner. So what do you think of the Toyota Innova Zenix? Let us know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Jamil of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching.